Good afternoon, fourth grade. We're going to keep reading The Red Pyramid. We're in chapter 2 today. Before we begin reading, I want you to think back to the end of chapter 1. How did Sadie and Carter get to Brooklyn in New York City? And so, let's think back. So, their Uncle Amos comes to get them, and they ride in a boat through the Duat, or the underworld. And it's something that it has several layers, and if you stay in the top layers, you're pretty good. But the farther and farther down you get in the Duat, the more evil there is. But the first couple layers of the Duat are pretty safe, and that's what they travel through so that they can quickly get to Brooklyn, New York, to their family's mansion. And while they're there, they realize that their parents were magicians for the House of Life, also known as the Perronk. Okay? And so because they're magicians in the House of Life, they can practice magic, but and they realized that both of their parents were magicians. Carter's dad, he learns over here, his dad actually wasn't an archaeologist. That's just what he told people so he could practice his Egyptian magic. And there are a couple other creatures here. There's Khufu, who's a monkey, and they keep going through the house, and he tells them, to go to sleep, and, Sadie, goes to sleep with her cat Muffin, and Carter is like, all right, I'll go to sleep, but he doesn't really want to use this headrest, so he just sets to the side. And then he transforms into this bird, and he sees Set and realizes that Set is trying to take over the world. And Set, doesn't see him. Set doesn't see him, and he just narrowly escapes. And he wakes up, and he's like, oh my God, that was a dream. And now it's Christmas morning at the family mansion in Brooklyn, New York. All right? And today we want to know, why does the Kane family visit the Rosetta Stone at the British Museum, and what are the consequences of Julius's actions? Okay, so we think we might have a prediction for this, but this chapter actually explains exactly why they visited the Rosetta Stone, and Amos lays out some consequences for Julius's actions. So before we get started, we're going to go over some vocabulary words. The first word is summon, and that's when you urgently call someone. All right, so this person is being summoned by his boss. The next word is host. That's when, if you are having people over at your house, you're a host. But also, animals and plants can also have hosts, and that's when, like if a dog has fleas, the flea is a host. It's, living on the dog, even though the dog doesn't want it. The dog is the flea's host. And we see this in our story, how people are going to be hosts of not bugs, but of gods in our story today. All right, and then the last word is manifestation. That's when what you're dreaming becomes a reality. It's a manifestation. All right, so we're going to read pages 31 through 37, and we are going to practice our CSPS strategy. Do you see in box 3 where it says the problem that Aset faces? I want you to write Sadie and Carter in that box. Press pause to go ahead and do that, and play when you're ready to start reading. I'm in this text box. Alright, and we have a blue box, so that means these are Carter's thoughts as he's walking out to the table beside this pool. I found Sadie and Amos outside on the mansion's terrace. Smells like breakfast. Carter, you're awake. Merry Christmas. About time. We've been up for ages. You can always count on Sadie to tell the truth, right? Amos says, please help yourself to anything you can't eat. We have to feed the crocodile. Please help yourself. Anything you can't eat, we have to feed to the crocodile. His name is Philip of Macedonia. He's albino, which means that he's completely white. Everything is white. Right. I hope you didn't have a pet bird, too. Khufu's eating something with pink feathers. Oh, yes. Khufu's very picky. He only eats foods that end in O. Doritos, burritos, flamingos. Okay, Amos, enough about your weird pets. Carter's awake, it's daylight, time for some explanations. Yes, where to begin? Why did Dad want to destroy the Rosetta Stone? Alright, we'll stop right there. What we want to think about our characters. Who are Carter and Sadie, and what are they like? Well, we know that Carter and Sadie are brother and sister, and they just found out that their family, that they are from a long line of magicians, of Egyptian magicians in their family. And they are, escaping from, at the moment, they're escaping from Set. Press pause to write down your answer. If you're thinking about a quote, you could write something from this box down here when Sadie says it's time for some explanations, because they want to know more about their magician family. Press pause to write down this quote, and then play when you're ready for the setting. And we know that they are in their family's mansion in Brooklyn, New York, on Christmas Day. Carter and Sadie are at their family's mansion in Brooklyn, New York, on Christmas Day. And for the quote, you can, you can cite this picture on page 31. Just say, the picture is on page 31. All right, and so now we're listening for the problem, and let's turn the page. And so we're in this top box, and Amos is going to start explaining why their dad wanted to destroy the Rosetta Stone. I'm sure he didn't intend to break the stone. At any rate, our brethren, those are other members of the House of Life, in London have surely repaired the damage by now. The curators will soon check their vaults and discover the Rosetta Stone intact. How? It was blown to smithereens. By magic, observe. Crash! That was to destroy. I could have done it by magic, Hadid, but it's simpler just to smash it. And now, join. Hi Nem. For the past 6 years, your father has been looking for a way to summon the god Osiris. Last night, he thought he found the right artifact to do it. I had suspicions it had something to do with your mother. Osiris was the lord of the dead. Dad was talking about making things right. Then you're saying he wanted to bring Mom back from the dead? But that's crazy. If that is what he was after, he might have accomplished it using the powers of Osiris. But that fiery bloke wasn't Osiris, was he? No. Your father got more than he bargained for. He did release the spirit of Osiris. In fact, I think he successfully joined with the god. But your father never got the chance to use Osiris's power because something else came out with Osiris. Can we back up a minute? What would a god be doing in the Rosetta Stone in the first place? Okay, let's stop right there. So what problem have Sadie and Carter encountered? In this conversation, we know that their dad is missing because he tried to use magic to join with the god Osiris at the museum the night before. He was unsuccessful at using Osiris's power because Set was released. Press pause to write down your answer for the problem and play when you're ready for the quote. And you can get your quote from this top box that talks about how the dad never got a chance to use his powers because of Set. Press pause to write down the quote and play when you're ready for the solution. So what are they going to do about their father missing? And now Amos is talking. For the past 2,000 years, the work of the Perronk, that's the House of Life, the family of magicians they're a part of, has been to imprison Egypt's gods inside its remaining relics. So the magicians trapped all the gods inside Egyptian artifacts. So the Rosetta Stone was an Egyptian artifact, Cleopatra's Needle was an Egyptian artifact, and throughout our story, there will be other Egyptian artifacts that are important. Though once useful, having gods free came to threaten the balance between Ma'at and Isfet, order and chaos. And we know from our background knowledge that a balance between order and chaos is very important in Egyptian culture. The Egyptian gods are very dangerous. Most of our most important law issued by Chief Lector Iskandar in Roman times forbids releasing the gods or using their power. Your father broke that law once before at Cleopatra's Needle in London. But that was while Mom was still alive. What were they trying at? Your parents thought they were doing something good. They took a terrible risk and it cost your mother her life. Your father took the blame and was exiled from the House of Life, banished. That means because he broke the law about releasing gods, they kicked him out of the House of Life. And he wasn't supposed to practice his magic. Afraid he would continue his research, the house monitored his activities and Joyous was forced to travel constantly. Last night at the museum, the girl with the staff, the man with the forked beard, they were magicians too, from the House of Life? Yes, the man and the girl that appeared. The girl who wanted to kill us, by the way. We're keeping an eye on your father. You are fortunate they let you go. Up at the top of the next page, the Perronk is sworn not to kill unless it is absolutely necessary. They will wait to see if you develop into a threat. Why would we be a threat? We're children. The summoning wasn't our idea. There's a reason you two were raised separately. Yeah, the Faust took Dad to court and Dad lost. The Faust